Welcome back, guys.
Welcome back.
Hopefully by now you know who you're listening to.
Our voices do have a very distinct...
Yeah, I think so.
Don't you reckon?
Well, I enjoy listening to your voice.
I enjoy listening to your voice.
Well, that's great. Because
I was told, actually.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, I've got a really funny story. Caught up with one of the girls the other day, and she told me that her partner works on as like a concreter or something on
Construction
the
site.
construction, yeah, on the tram lines. And there was a group of like 6 grown men listening to our episode
On speaker.
Like
They've got it through the UE boom.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, and then one of them said, "Oh, she's got a really good voice for like phone sex."
Take the compliment.
Add that to my resume.
Score.
And you can definitely change your voice as well. Like mine can be quite deep, or I can make it.
Go on. give us a gaze.
Well, I feel like my normal voice is like a bit like that, but then if you want to put it on a little bit, you go like that.
Oh, shit,
Dumb.
This is Liv and Let B.
With Liv and B.
The sound of me flapping our bloody A4 printouts. Guys,
Last minute note.
Yeah, we've decided to not only step up our production, we've got a full floodlight. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you count the laptop. We've got 5 cameras set up. Some of you may have noticed our last episode actually did not have any video, and that was because a trial and error was an error.
It was a fail.
Yeah.
But that's how we learned.
We're back even better now because of that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, based on the title, you probably know what we're going to talk about, but we'll do our due diligence and give you a little summary. Today's podcast is all about
JOBS. The big
riveting stuff.
Yeah, nailed that. But no, we thought it'd be cool to just sort of, go back and look back on where we started and sort of how we got to where we are now, and setting the tone. And I guess we're going to realize as well by even speaking today, just if there are any little tie-ins, which will be
the impact all these jobs have had. And I think it will be an episode of substance because everyone needs a job. Like you literally have to have a job to get by in life.
Yeah. And everyone started somewhere to build that value on what you earn today and what you value today all started from when you were younger. Yep. So it'll be interesting to
dive back into that.
And we're writing our notes before, and I could see Olivia, she's like writing so much. Like we were trying to do our timelines of our jobs. And she had a full list, and I'm like, just tell me now.
She's like, what? I did 2 of the jobs. Like, what could there possibly be? I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Alongside the listeners, you can wait.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we're going to
dive into it.
Let's give you guys a bit of a catch up on what B and I currently do to make our money and get by in life. Do you want to start, B?
Get by in life. Oh my gosh.
This is how we live and get by.
Yeah. Well, yes, I'll start. So I do 2 days working, I guess, in an office sort of vibe, doing aftercare on vehicles. And I've done that in and out for a few years, which we'll go through.
What does that entail?
In car dealerships, they have aftermarket consultants. So someone's bought a car, you then come over and you're pretty much upselling everything. Yeah. And that's where the money is made. It's essentially in the aftermarket and finance. So I'll come over, upsell all the stuff, and
you're like, great, you've got the car.
Yeah.
But you actually need this, and this.
Yeah. Yeah.
What out of the 2 voices that you just showed us do you use?
Depends who I'm selling to.
Depends if we're leaning into that other demographic we just discovered.
So you never know. But yeah, so alongside that, I also do modeling and social media. That's how I'm making my income at the moment. Yeah, what about you?
Most of my income is from social media posts. Yeah. And I would say maybe once or twice a month, or every 2 months, I probably do 2 modeling shoots.
Yeah.
I'm in a position where I can be selective with the modeling jobs because of the demand of the social media stuff.
Yeah.
And I've always loved having that difference too.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's where I make my bread and butter.
Yeah. Like you said, it's a luxury to be able to decide. But I think that comes with just age and growing up too. Like, whereas when you're younger, you think you have to say yes to all these things. But you start to realize, okay, what do I actually like to wear? What do I actually use? And then I think you become more selective that way too.
100%. That's how you find your niche as well.
Yeah.
And finding your niche and focusing on what you're good at actually brings more opportunities to you, because people go, oh, I'll go to, I
She's
have
selective.
this. Yeah, I have this. I'll go to her because
Yeah.
she does that, or she's good at doing that.
Yeah, and it's genuine. Like, you can tell when you're younger. I bet if you saw videos or whatever, you would just say yes to anything.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool when you get to that point.
There are some stepping stones that allowed us to have the confidence, the creativity, and I guess the support even to be able to do what we do now. Mm-hmm. So we're going to appreciate where we came from.
Always have to appreciate where you came from.
Yeah, we're going to go right back.
Okay.
This is pre-legal age to get a real job.
Yeah.
What were you doing, B? What was that little girl? How old? What's on our notes? What's the age?
I think about like 7 to 12 maybe.
Yeah. What was 7 to 12-year-old B
up to
doing?
She was, I remember making little things to put in people's letterboxes to say that I will walk your dog. Yeah. So I did dog walking around the street.
Did you get a few clients?
Yeah, I had my regulars.
Really?
Yeah. And it'd be
So
like $2 a walk.
Oh, God.
I know, I could have gone a bit higher.
You were doing it for the dogs, let's be real.
I was. I loved animals, and I still do. So it was like anything to do with animals, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had like two of my regulars. One was a golden retriever and one was a little chihuahua.
Oh. Did you walk them at the same time?
No, it'd be two separate walks, yeah. But yeah, so I'd go down, pick them up from the house and just walk them around the street.
That's so
and
cute.
Drop them back. And I'd just save my little pennies. I had my little like jar and I'd just put my dollar coins in there. But yeah, that was my first job. I loved it.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Wait, were you walking the street alone?
It was during the day, but yeah, I'd be alone. Just like I had my little, my street's
little
safe.
route.
Yeah. My street's like a nice little walk for them.
Were you living in the house that you're in now?
Yeah.
Really?
Childhood home, yeah.
Oh, my visual now. It's so clear.
Yeah. Can you imagine my street?
It's so cute.
Yeah. So I loved it. When I was younger too, I'd always pretend, which is crazy. I just thought of it literally just then. But I would always pretend, like I'd have a lot of jobs that I would pretend I was doing. And I would pretend that I was like a host of a show at Australia Zoo.
Really? Yeah. That's so cute.
And like Crumman Wildlife Sanctuary here on the Gold Coast.
What wildlife were you using?
I used to be, it was with birds, but we would pretend, so me and my friend would do it, and we would put all my animals, because I would have like a lot of cats. I always grew up with cats, dogs. So we'd get our cats and like pretend they were
the birds,
the star of the show. Be anything. But yeah, I'd be, you know how at bird shows that have you standing and then you'd have the bird come and you'd be like this and have your hand out. I was that girl. It was so funny.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, it just takes me back to how your mind works as a kid.
Imagination.
Yeah,
so
that's
fun.
it. Mine was fucking wild.
It's so cool though. Like I loved that. You need to have that as a kid.
Yeah.
And I love that my mum and like my parents were so supportive in that too.
Yeah.
Because if they're like, stop it, don't be silly. I'm like, who would I be now? You know, because I have such a crazy imagination. So do you.
Yeah.
It's so important.
Oh yeah. My sister and I we would always call it playing a game. Do you want to go play a game? And we both knew that it insisted of a scene, a storyline, characters.
I love
sometimes a script. For example, we were camping down at this like beachy town. We were probably 12. Oh, that's even embarrassing actually.
You're like, this was like yesterday.
We were probably 12 and 14. Mm-hmm. And we were throwing ourselves around out in the ocean. And we go mid, like, bopping our heads, treading water. We're like, want to play a game?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, fuck yeah. We would do it for hours too. And we're like, okay, this is the scene.
Yeah.
We have been stranded out at sea for ages.
So fun.
And she's like, we are exhausted. And we're both like, yeah, like egging each other on. We're going to get to the shore and that's just the scene. Like we wouldn't actually say like where it ends, anything.
And scene.
We would literally just go, okay, go. And both of us in the water. We would be like crawling up this ocean, like crawling up the shore. Yeah. Then we'd lay there, roll on our backs, look at the sky and be like, oh my God. And then we would look at each other and be like, that was so good. Let's do it again. And we would just do the same scene. But like this time,
play it more like this.
Yeah. This
so
time,
fun.
You get to the shore first and then I get dragged out a little bit and it would just go on forever. And we would just have like so much stimulation just between each other based on what you're visualizing and what you're imagining. And there's so many other scenarios I could go into.
Yeah,
but
so fun.
It's so nice.
It's so cool.
Yeah, to reflect back and remember how your brain once worked. And I guess that's why people always go, I'm so worried about, the next generation and phones and how much that's going to steal from them, from their childhood and their creativity and that.
Yeah. When we have kids, like as much as we have a certain way that we'd want to raise them, like how we were raised, I guess, because you go out and play on the street or whatever.
Home by the lights, guys.
Yeah. It's going to be harder to do that because of the other parent. Like you can't control other parents and how they raise their kids. Like how are you going to keep your kid imagining and being a bit, crazy?
Yeah. I mean, that's the journey you guys are here for because, hopefully we're still doing the pod when that time comes.
Oh my God, stop. That'd be so cute.
Yeah. Going a bit rogue.
We're just too reminiscent. I might cry. I love talking about childhood. It's so fun.
I know.
All the shit that we would do.
After this, let's play a game.
You be the tiger and I'll be the host.
Do you remember what you would say?
Hell yeah. I remember.
It
was yesterday.
How long would it go for? Like it was a big show?
Until my freaking animals would be like, let me out of this room.
Or your friend had to leave.
I would call her and she only lives like 5 minutes. I'd type her name, her number. I still remember her home line because I would call it so much. And I'd call her, be like, Serena, you have to get your mum to drop you here right now. I've got a blue tongue lizard outside. We need to catch it. We need to start the show. She would get dropped and we would catch the blue tongue lizard and be like, guys, look what we've got here today. It's Bluey. Everyone was Bluey.
Oh my
gosh. It was so fun.
That is a show that I want to watch.
Yeah. Did you do something as like an 8 to 12 range that you can remember?
Not really outside of home, but like in our family. We're a family of 5.
Yeah.
So there's 3 of us kids and we'd all get delegated jobs that were our jobs.
Yeah.
Sometimes mum would go, okay, when we get home from doing this, we're all going to go to our rooms and clean.
Do our chores or whatever.
Yeah. And then we might have got pocket money.
But it sounds like, your family, like the family was still very much on like having the work ethic of just around the house. Yeah.
Yeah. Of contributing and working as a team and for sure. Leading up to getting my first proper job, I was quite a shy kid. Like I didn't want to ever order my own ice cream and it was always it was always like,
oh, I can imagine you. So cute.
It was, I remember so distinctly being probably under 12 years old and just looking around thinking, when I'm an adult, because as a kid, I feel like you look at grown-ups and you think everyone is kind of the same age.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just grown up. Yeah. They're tall and they're big and they're grown up.
Yeah.
I remember thinking things aren't going to be as scary when I'm a grown-up because I'm going to be the same age as everyone else. Mm-hmm. I feel like I might have even had this feeling when I was like standing at the ice cream counter, like going, looking up, just going... I won't be scared one day.
They all have it figured out.
I'm like, they don't know what it feels
like.
My
life is so intense.
I'm like, I can't even see the flavors. I'm like, they don't know how scary this is because they're grown. They're all tall and big. But yeah, I remember thinking that. So when it came to the appropriate time where you start to think about what you want to do for your first job, and your parents are going, okay, well, you can start working. Why don't you go do this?
And isn't it such a weird thing? Hey, our parents, we do think, oh, they had it all figured out, but really they're just doing it for the first time as well.
They've never encouraged a small child to
go
and
get make their own
job.
money. Like, it's crazy when you really think about it.
So I didn't really have a strong drive for it. I was happy with my $20 a month. I'm thinking, Mum, let's go on a shopping spree. She's like, dolls.
If only you knew.
What was your general feeling about working and getting money?
Well, my parents always worked. So I guess that for me, I didn't, again, you don't realize when you're that young, what your work ethic isn't there. Mine wasn't strong. Yes, I'm going to go out and make all my money. It was more so, okay, I enjoyed the fact that I'd go walk these dogs or whatever, and I knew how much I was going to get. So I guess having that in my mind made me want to go and do it, and then I'd save it, and then I was a good saver when I was younger. And that led into when I was 14, 15, 16, when you then got your real job.
Yeah, saving was really encouraged for me as well.
Yeah, Mum was very big on saving.
Yeah, the little money boxes.
Yeah, and it all adds up.
Yeah.
When you go and take it and you're like, oh my gosh, all these coins.
Okay, speaking about your feelings, thoughts and emotions leading up to getting your first job, what was your first job where you had to,
go out into the world? Big scary world. And
it's a yuck feeling thinking about that for me. Anyway, continue.
I actually remember though how I got the job as well.
Yeah, that's what we want to know.
Yeah, which is crazy. So I remember doing up my resume with Mum, and did it all official and stuff. And I remember she would always make it a thing that you need to be in front of the person. Yep. You need to go in to places, because if you just send it online or you just do whatever, they're not gonna, it's not the same.
Yeah.
So she would drive me and sit in the car, and there was a cafe on the side. It's still there too, and I'm still I'm really good friends with the owners still.
Really?
Yeah. So I would have been about 15, and I had my little resume, and I walked into this cafe. And I remember just walking in and being like, is the manager here?
That question makes my stomach turn.
I know, but I didn't want to just give it to the barista, because I'm they don't care.
Yeah.
So I asked for the manager to come out, and he was a young guy too.
But just imagine the barista going, hi, and you're like, where's the manager? Can I speak?
You won't understand.
Yes. This is not for you.
But yeah, anyway, long story short, I got the job.
You have to, well,
that's pretty much it. I gave him my resume, and then they called and said, we want you to have the job. So I was a waitress. So I used to be a waitress at this cafe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a ballsy first job, I feel. There's a lot involved in that.
Fucking oath. You had to carry the plates. Bloody. Oh, yeah, it was a lot. And you're dealing with a lot of customers, and then I'd start getting my regular customers, and then it was really fun.
Yeah. I'm kind of jumping the gun a little bit here, but I remember moving to my second job after my first and reflecting on how comfortable I got with the flow of things and how that boosted my confidence.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, if only I just knew how to do the things that I need to do, I would be so much more confident. I wouldn't have to ask questions, and I felt not insecure about it, but I just remember being excited for the time where I didn't have to rely on people to be able to do my job well. Yeah. At first, it seems overwhelming, and you're trying to learn all these different things, and then you've got a customer in front of you, and you're and why were we so scared back then to say, I'm sorry, I only just started working here? It was a kind of you don't want to say that. You want to act like you've got it all together. Yeah. But no one cares if you just go, I literally just started.
But then, what's funny is in my, we're jumping it, but in the next job, I would always say, even if it wasn't my first day, I'd be like, sorry, it's my first day. And then you just sell more.
She's
I feel bad.
so sorry. You've been there for like 2 years.
2 years. I'm like, it's my first day. Like, yeah.
Bear with me.
Yeah. But then when you're younger, it's like the worst thing you could possibly do.
Yeah.
As you said. So it's crazy how it all sort of.
Yeah, your perspectives change.
Yeah.
100%.
What was your first job? I'm dying to know. When you started making, you're on payroll now.
Yep.
What was it?
My first job was the Woolworths at the end of the road.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was wondering if one of us had either worked at like KFC or McDonald's or something like that.
Because if you're not from Australia, you obviously wouldn't know this, but that's just like the most common thing for people to do. Yeah. Because they train you up good, and if you have McDonald's or Woolworths or whatever on your resume,
they know you've done
good training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Woolies.
Yeah. And
just sort of cash register, or were you?
Yeah, it was a checkout check.
Checkout check.
Yeah.
Wow.
The same way that you were encouraged and supported by your mum, it was the same for me.
Yeah.
You sit down, do your resume out with your mum and dad, and walk you down there. And I went up to Mum fucking talks the head off anyone, like anywhere. And leading up to getting my first job, obviously being at the end of the road, this Woolworths was our local.
So she'd have Mum, mates.
Yeah. Like she had.
I can picture her too.
Yeah, we would walk down the aisles and it'd be like, oh, there's Sophie. And then Sophie would get all of us kids like a little chocolate, or we'd get to the server and the
hell yeah,
checkout.
Sophie. Shout out.
Oh, she was the OG. Like,
shout out, Sophie.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously approaching the store to assist me in applying for a job, she was, oh, hi, Anne.
Yeah.
And yeah, she definitely tried to kind of step back and let me. She's like, "Come on, Olivia," and I'm like,
handing your resume over
with my little cover letter and a school photo at the top.
Stop. Yeah. So cute.
I was so nervous, but I don't actually think I was excited at all, to be honest.
Do you remember how long you worked there for?
A year. Well, maybe 2 years. Honestly, I can't really remember.
Yeah.
It's all such a blur, and it's because of this list.
I know. So you have a few on there. So from Woolies, what was do you remember your next one?
Please hold. I have a fibre of some sort in my eyeball.
A fibre. You okay?
Yeah. I was going to take this to my grave.
Oh, no.
But I actually never quit Woolies. I just ghosted them.
Not Sophie.
Oh, Sophie. No, Sophie moved on. When I worked there, she
I
wasn't
think you
working
have
there.
Told me this.
Probably.
You just never went back, hey? Like never rocked up.
No, and I never actually up until
formally
like 2 years ago, I had never set foot back there because I was so scared.
Olivia.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know how to do it.
So where did you go shop? Like
at another one. At a different Woolworths.
Oh my God.
I can't remember. I think it was like a series of events where I was running so late for a shift one day that I
just got overwhelmed.
I was like, oh my God, like I don't know what to do because I'm so late, and I think I just didn't go. And then I forgot about a shift, and I was so petrified of disappointing people. And like when I get in trouble at school, I would be nauseous. Like I would throw up.
Like literally?
Yes, because I was so rattled by anyone being disappointed or mad at me.
Wow.
And
it all makes sense.
I never intentionally wanted to be a bad employee, but this series of events where I forgot about a shift and then I was rocking up late and I was like, I can't
it's easier to
face the disappointment.
Yeah.
So I just stopped going and I just like didn't answer the calls. And I just never, I would have gone poof off the face of the earth to them. They would have gone, she doesn't even
like,
come.
What the hell happened?
Yeah. And I'm surprised my mum wasn't questioned more because I think she continued to go.
She still gets questioned. Where's Olivia?
My second job, it's like a steakhouse the other direction to the Woolworths. So I was not even gonna.
You're safe.
Yeah. that was where I did my first waitressing.
Really?
Carrying the plates. And I've gone from packing bags in the air conditioning to being out the back of a kitchen getting
Steakhouse.
loaded up with like these 3 massive plates with fat ass T-bone steaks on them.
I'm hungry.
Yeah. Sorry. And then walking out, and you get to these big tables, and you would probably have a similar experience.
Yeah.
But you get to these big tables and everyone's in their convos, and I'm standing there as like this small girl. Like I was probably 16 at the time, and I'm juggling 3 huge plates. They're really hot meals.
But you know what? I still that having that as like a skill.
Yeah.
I know how to hold plates. Yeah. Like you come over even out to dinner,
like
you're like
Easter. You're like, I've got this. Yeah. I used to hang the mustards off my finger under all these plates.
Such a good thing to learn.
But it was quite confronting when you're standing there going, you know, T-bone steak, medium rare, and
everyone just looks
I'm
at you.
so mousy my voice. I just would have realised I would not have been speaking up, Olivia.
You would have been standing there for like 10 minutes. They'd be
then, you know what?
What?
They would make you sing happy birthday.
No.
Yep. And if it was just me, I'm walking out with the dessert.
No.
Yeah.
That's a bit much.
Character building.
Yeah.
And that's what...
Actually, funny story. When I was holding a bunch of plates, I used to wear these boots for my waitressing job.
Is this the first?
Yeah. Yep. Same job. And I picked up all the plates from where the chef puts it up on the thing. And I was walking and I slipped and all the plates, everything went everywhere, dropped on the floor in the cafe, smashed everything.
Oh, so wait, they weren't like clean up plates. They were
full, like food. It was like brekkie, like busy time, late brekkie. And I've just dropped it everywhere, slipped ass overhead. It was the most embarrassing thing. It's like
the crowd stops.
Everything goes silent. It was fucked.
That's the worst.
Yeah. I never wore those boots again.
Scarred.
Oh my gosh.
But isn't it crazy how these things happen when you're young and they're such big deals? Like, yeah, of course it's still, you know, embarrassing for that to happen. But now with the confidence that we've gained, we would literally be like, fuck. Like just get up and go. See his back in a sec. Yeah. But when you're young, you think, oh my God.
It's so bad.
Yeah. If you guys are listening and you're in that era of, you know, finding your feet in a new job and everything feels so serious, it's not that serious. And that your boss is winging it.
Yeah. Because they've been through the same thing.
Yeah. But they also are learning new things every day. They're still figuring stuff out. Like everything isn't as big and scary as sometimes we make it in our heads. They say like, what is it? Desensitize yourself to feeling nervous when you're speaking by imagining people being naked. Yeah. But
I actually never used to do that.
No, it's never worked. But
it's kind of weird.
In like, if you think about it in a realistic sense, if you just think, I could be in the crowd there. What do I think when I'm watching someone? Or what would I think if someone slipped over in front of me? That's the quickest way to be like, oh, no one actually cares that much.
Deep.
No one's going to be like, oh my God, I'm never talking to that girl because she can't carry all those plates.
So true. And if only I knew in that moment that you would go on and you would fall in your other jobs too. That wasn't the first time. You might have had a few more jobs in between of when we like first met, like when we get to the point of us meeting in our next sort of jobs. I think did you have a few more?
I think after that was the clubs.
Really?
Yeah.
So we would have been 18.
So this next phase of past experiences actually is where B and I met each other.
First met.
But I've also got a terrible exit story from that.
Oh my gosh. You didn't ghost them as well. What happened?
Wait, this whole time are you at your cafe?
Yeah.
Okay.
I stayed at the cafe until the clubs.
Okay. So the manager was this old guy. He was probably in his late 40s, I would say. The supervisor was also the same.
Yeah.
But the supervisor was very clearly, now looking back at it, under the manager's thumb a lot, like felt very superior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, inferior.
In superior, close. Yeah, inferior.
Looking at the dynamic now that I'm older, I could tell that, he was definitely intimidated by the manager.
Mm-hmm.
So I went up to the supervisor and I said, hey, in 2 weeks' time, I can't do my normal Wednesday shift. She goes, yep, no worries, I'll put it down. That then rolls around.
Mm-hmm.
He never put it down.
So you're rostered on.
I'm rostered on, but I'm like, I've well in advance put this down. So I didn't even check the roster because I wouldn't then be working until Saturday. So I thought I'll do my usual shifts. I'll check my roster on Thursday to double check what time they want me for Saturday.
Yeah.
Then I get a call. I didn't answer the call. So now that looks even worse. She's not picking up her phone. She's literally
just
ghosting. I'm like, I'm not doing it again. I swear.
I promise. Do not talk to Woolies. Do not get a reference.
Has she done this before? You're like, well, she's still alive? God damn. Thought she left the country.
Oh my gosh.
So I get to my shift on Saturday and the manager pulls me aside and he sits me down in this little bar area. You know when something's strange. Like your subconscious is going, this is strange.
You know
the
vibes.
Yeah. Did you know you had a shift on Wednesday? And I'm like, oh, what? No. I swear I blah, blah, and grow up. But I was like, no, I told the supervisor that I couldn't work that day. And he goes, well, he said you never did.
Oh, so he's,
throwing me under the bus.
He's throwing you under.
He's gone. And I said, well, I did. And he goes, look, we can't have people who are unreliable. And I swear he thought I was a liar as well. Oh. So he's like, I'm going to have to, this will be your last shift. You're actually welcome to go home now.
So you finished up on that day?
And I got in my car and bawled my eyes out. It's like pissing rain. And I'm like,
of course it's raining.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And my bloody windscreen wipers on my first car weren't working. And it was like so dramatic. Yeah. The next thing was, you better get yourself a job.
Yeah.
What are you going to do now, Olivia? You better get yourself a job. And then I turned 18.
18. Where it all starts.
Yeah, where the real shit happens.
Fuck, it was fun. I remember I quit that cafe job, around end of 17. I turned 18. I went out with my brother on my 18th birthday. And I got the job on my 18th birthday at the club. I
was bloody poached at that time too.
Yeah.
It was like...
They get the freshies.
You.
Yeah.
And I'm like thinking, me?
Yeah.
Oh my God. When you're young and you're first going to the clubs,
you
see all these people dabbing up the security and you think,
that's
so cool. Like, I know the manager.
And just walk straight in, the big line.
Yeah, I know the reception girl. Or I know this person. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That is like a cult I want to be a part of.
But it is cool. Like, it's something that you fucking need at that age because it helps in so many areas.
Yeah, so when it's like, you get in here.
So cool.
Yes.
Where do I sign?
What a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not going to be one of those bar girls. And he was like, no, we want you like reception. And I went, that's something I can get around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come in tomorrow night and do a trial.
Yeah.
You start at 11 p.m.
I know.
And finish at 3 a.m. And I thought, oh my God, I got to go home and sleep to prepare.
The times were crazy, hey, that you would get. Like your whole body clock is just different. You turn into a night owl.
Yeah.
It was the same. So they offered me reception. I forget when you started. I think I wasn't at reception then, right?
No. Were you? Amy was working reception.
Oh, okay. So
she was training me to then replace her.
I trained her.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was just behind.
Yeah. So I trained her and then she did that and then you came.
Yeah.
Because I gave myself like a time frame too when I was 18. I'm like, I'm going to work a year here and then that's it.
A year and that's it.
A year only. But I wanted to try all of the things. So I did reception and then I went in to be a bartender. again, such a good skill to learn. Like,
yeah.
it was so fun, so fucking cool. And I would just flip the bottles and bartend, and it was just like you'd have your friends in there. We would get drunk, and like, because it felt like all my friends were then turning 18 and coming in. So I was the one like giving them drinks, and like I would feel like I'm out with them without actually partying to the extent they were, and then like carrying on all the time.
Yeah.
I would be working and making money. I'm like, this is perfect.
This is
Best of
goals.
both. I'm with my friends, but I'm actually making money, not spending money.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. And then that's when you started, as I just went into the hosting role. So then I was like the host, and I would get all the bottle service and bring them in, and have my little radio. So fun.
Cool.
It was so fun.
So cool.
So good.
Like you would walk up all like kitted up with all your things and like these big dangly
Oh, the
earrings
fucking outfit.
and the crimped hair.
Do less.
But
back then I felt like
it was so
cool.
It was so cool.
I would have a big necklace and earrings. Why were they were such like a thing?
It was, yeah.
Wow.
You go to Lavisa or Diva and just find the biggest ones.
Yeah. And then you'd be at reception, and then I'd like sneaky little drinks. Do you
like,
remember?
B, can I get a Red Bull? And then you'd be like hand it to me and be like, there's a shot in there.
There's a little bit of vodka in there.
I'm like, yes. And then I would say to the security guard, can you please go get us Red Frogs?
Yeah.
Oh, that we
So
really
fun.
grew a lot doing that job.
Massively. Like, you grow so much in that because you're just exposed to so many things, and the nightlife already, it's a lot, and you can get caught up in the wrong scene or the right scene. And watching that, like as a bartender, especially like being in the club, you see a lot of things, and I would always be like the bartender, but I would never be silly enough to make those decisions to take it too far, or because you're getting people with a lot of money and they're spending a lot of money at the bar, and of course they want the good-looking girls serving them all night. So we did watch a lot of girls make choices that we wouldn't. You see all these girls go down this path and normalize things that they shouldn't have or shouldn't, just because of the environment.
Yeah,
like it's made to be normal, but it's not. And
even the drama of like, who are you talking to? Like, what glassy are you talking to? I was talking to him. Like
the security guards, like which security guards with who. Yeah. It was a full thing.
Yeah, you did really well to stay out of it. I think I did too. I did too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I mean.
No, you did. I mean, this is where you met your first boyfriend.
Yeah, but I did meet my first boyfriend there, but we didn't get involved with each other
while
until
you worked
after.
there.
Yeah.
You were after.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, you just get exposed to so much. We're these young girls who have come from a normal environment where people are out for a brunch or they're grocery shopping. They're doing these normal, mundane, sort of very safe activities. Yeah. Then you get thrown into this environment where there's a lot of men and a lot of drunk people. Yeah. And also only just starting to go clubbing and then to start working in the clubs. Like, you're meshing two pivotal milestones, I would say, or pivotal points of life into one big thing. So it was a highly character building job to have.
I learnt so much. Like, I learnt so much, and I don't regret any of it, to be honest, because I did end up just working there a year, but I did so much in that year. Like, of course, there were situations where I'm still an 18-year-old girl and I'm walking through a crowd and I would get grabbed or I would get whatever it was. And that taught me, like, I would turn around and like fucking give it to them and be like, I'm with my radio, get this person out, red shirt, and all security would run. Yeah. And they had my back. And that was something I have to say, like, I always felt taken care of. They would walk me to my car. Like, it was always a thing.
Yeah, I remember having that same care as well.
Yeah, the boys were awesome there. And because I would leave at 4 or 5 in the morning sometimes, and they always would walk me to my car. Yeah. Like, all the time, because you'd get people that would wait for you to finish. after bartending. They would think they're going to like come home with you and they would wait for you. They'd be like, what time do you finish? I'm like, leave me alone. I'm cleaning the bar. And I would say that. I'd be like, fuck off. Like, I'm cleaning the bar.
Yeah.
And be like, oi, get this person out. Like, they would kick so many people out.
I was the same. I only worked there for 8 months. And the reason I quit was because I found myself standing behind the desk and I would be armed up before even being presented with a situation where I needed to back myself. And I felt like I had an aura and a persona about me that I didn't resonate with.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I thought, I don't like this person. I don't feel good about standing here just assuming people are gonna do me wrong, because people would walk in, throw things at me and try and run in, or come down and be like, put us on here.
Yeah.
Put my friends
Very
on.
demanding.
Or they come down and go, not even look at me and go, where's this person? Or I'm already down on a list and I'm like, okay, what's your name? And I just got to a point where I was
you
like,
were just being like that.
I would
all
just
the time.
stand there and go,
oi.
Yeah, look at me.
Yeah.
Or if someone, this one time, this guy tried to Usain Bolt past the desk.
Oh,
and I literally I was not having it. I launched out of behind the desk, ran up behind him, grabbed his arm. He threw his arm backwards with so much force. I flew into the wall. And that was the last time I ever thought I can do this. I'm going to intervene. I just thought, fuck, go in there then.
Well, that makes sense. And I get that, where it starts to get to the point where you resent how it makes you feel.
It just, it doesn't, that is actually a moment where I really started to think, okay, the value of what you're getting out of a job shouldn't just be the money that you're getting paid. That was the first time that I was thinking, the money's so good. Yeah. The hours are good. I get Monday to Friday or Monday to Thursday, all day, every day, to go to the beach, hang out with my friends. All of it was great on paper. Yeah. But the behavior that I was around, the people I was around didn't align with who I wanted to be. And I thought, I'm okay giving up, the security of this money. Yeah. And all of that. And so that I just thought then,
it's true. And I continue to have those feelings and being like, is the money worth, when it does start to change you as a person and like you turn into this person that is agitated all the time and doing all that. And the money isn't worth it when you are unhappy.
Because it flows through everything. All these other aspects of life.
Yeah. But so I mean, looking back, I don't regret it. It taught me a lot, and then it took me on to the next job, which was then the aftermarket job that I met. So I got that job, and every job has been like, it's always of who you know. Yeah. I went to actually buy my car.
Really?
Yeah, I bought my second car and went to the dealership. My brother was also working there. And I bought my car and met the girl that was doing the job that I wanted. And she's like, you should apply, blah, blah, blah. And I got the job. And that was when I started making really good money. And I was probably 19. And I thought it was just like the coolest thing ever. But my mindset was like, I'm making my own money because I wanted to go and travel. So it was always like I'd work and then book a trip. I'd work, book a trip. Like that was my motivation at that time. Every like 6 months I would go away.
Wow.
And sometimes it would be for a month or like just 3 weeks. We were sort of allowed. So I'd go to Europe for like 3 weeks. So that's when I started going over there. 19. And I just save, go.
Love that. How much easier is it to work when you have a goal in mind?
Yeah. And you just have your own money. Like that thought of being like, fuck, I'm 19. I've got all my own money coming in. This is just so cool.
And you're living at home still. Yeah. And, when you're at home, they can only charge you so much if they even charge you.
Yeah. Working for something, being like, okay, in 6 months I want to go over here. What do I need to save? How much do I need? Like that's where budgeting came in. That's where a lot of things started to form in my brain. And then in the sales environment, I took a lot from the club environment because it's quite similar.
Yeah.
Even if it's a night or a day, it's still similar because it's male, predominantly men that work there, and you have to deal with salesmen, and they're very egotistical.
So, which works if that's what your job is.
Yeah, it's what you kind of need in that role, but as a female, I'm like, I already know how to handle you guys. Yeah. I've been around this worse.
This ain't shit.
Yeah. There's no alcohol involved. I'm good. Yeah. But it taught me a lot. And then, sales again has taught me a lot as well.
Well, you're also faced with all walks of life doing that job as well. The same way as we were in the clubs.
Yeah.
So as scary and as lacking of skill you feel you are when you start a new job, you always leave having leveled up.
Yeah.
Or learning more about yourself.
100%. And that's really the goal in leaving each job, I feel. If you have that, okay, what did I learn from that? What do I now take into the next one? If you're always moving ahead or leveling up, as you said, you're not failing at anything. You should always want to chase and level up with your new jobs. I think it's good to try different things with jobs. Don't you reckon? Having different jobs.
Yeah,
it's it's not a bad thing if you've had 4 or 5 jobs or whatever it is.
Or 11.
And even ghosting.
Yeah, I will add, I never actually ghosted from a job after learning that I could sit down and
have that chat.
Yeah. During your transition from club to dealership, the idea of a full-time job was always highly praised by my dad. My dad was like, that's just what you do. And I just felt like for him to be impressed, I needed to go and get a full-time job. So here I am typing in full-time jobs on Seek.
Yeah.
And this ad came up. It was in a suburb that was kind of close to where I was living at the time. It said flexible work, can earn up to $1,000 a week. It was very vague. Yeah. So I applied.
Okay. You're like, oh, down the street, in a barn, in the garage, $1,000, done.
Done.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. So I go to Kmart and I'm thinking, I've got an interview for a full-time job. I need a blouse. I need a blouse. So I whip out my tailored black pants that I've worn through my Cavs waitressing job and Woolworths. And I put on this emerald green blouse that I bought from Kmart.
Love it.
Yep. Did up my hair.
That is your colour.
Thanks. So much so, I think that colour got me the job. And I realised I have just landed a job to do door knocking.
No.
And be one of those people that stand in the shopping centres and hail down these people.
No.
But I had to go along with it.
Did you do it?
I did it.
Wow.
For one day.
I don't even blame you.
No, but I went home to Dad. I was like, Dad, I've got a full-time job. After my experience.
He hated it.
It was so horrible. Just to quickly paint a picture, the first day I drove an hour in a car with these 2 experienced guys and we got to this shopping centre and
oh my God.
We stood there and I literally didn't do anything because I just thought I can't stand out in front of someone and get them to come over and then try and get them to sign up to a monthly subscription or donation.
Yeah.
It really pushed me out of my comfort zone.
And not in a good way.
Not in a good way. Yeah. I was just thinking, I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go. I later realized it was completely commission based. So you could work a whole day and if you're not getting people to sign up, you don't get
paid. Oh, that's annoying. So
I come back and obviously these guys that had been doing it for a while reported back on how I did. They're probably going, this girl literally just stood there all day. She didn't say anything to anyone. And this guy's gone, Olivia, do you want to try and do the door knocking?
Oh, door knocking is even harder. Yeah.
So I get assigned with this older lady. Her and I got paired up and we set out on foot. But every 10 minutes she would make us stop and hide in a bush so she could have a cigarette.
Smoke.
She would take her shirt off and stand there
No.
to have a cigarette. And I'm standing there in my tailored black pants with my clipboard.
And your emerald blouse.
And I was thinking, what am I doing? In the middle of a scorching hot day, standing outside of a bush waiting for a middle-aged woman to finish her cigarette.
Yeah.
But then after this moment ends, we're then knocking on people's doors to their private homes. The whole thing didn't feel right. But the final moment of that day where I just couldn't push myself anymore was when I got told to approach this house. They had their fly screen door open. It was about 6 p.m. Normally at 6 p.m, what's going on is people have just got home from work.
Having dinner.
Kids are getting baths.
Yeah.
Dinner's getting made.
Yeah.
You know, families are reconnecting after a big day. And I'm approaching this home. I can hear children. I can hear the parents talking between each other. They're having a very overstimulating evening based on what I could feel.
Yeah.
And I was so aware of this, and in any other situation, my consideration for that I would, act on that. But what I'm getting told all day and trained to do is to push past any of those normal feelings or any of those normal considerations and just say your speech. Knock on their door until they hear you. Say your speech. Get them to sign up.
No.
So I've walked up to this door and I've knocked on it, and this guy's broken away from the chaos and starts approaching the door. And I'm fully aware of what he would be seeing from his point of view.
Yeah.
And I just know that as he's approaching, he's going, this girl, there's this bloody salesperson at the door. He's opened the fly screen, and I just stood there and he goes, hi. And I go, hi. And he goes, are you okay? And I said, yep. Actually, don't worry. I just said, don't worry. Like, have a good night. And he goes, oh, honey, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, please. Like, please just completely ignore me.
Yeah.
Like, please have a good night. And I walked away, and then I just texted.
Like,
I thought
done.
The etiquette of the person who's meant to be my mentor on this day was not even decent enough. And I said, yeah, I will no longer be doing this.
Yeah.
And I never went back.
Perfect. I mean, I don't fucking blame you. That is like torturous.
Yeah.
That feeling too. It's like, it's crazy because going from, the clubs and then into that scenario, that's so confronting. I feel like that's more confronting doing that.
It was.
Especially around those people, and then it's probably put you off, completely.
It was horrible because when you walk into an unknown situation, your greatest superpower is to be able to be who you are. And that whole job you had to try and manipulate
push down
people.
Push down what you are.
I think I got through the whole spiel like once to one person, and I walked away with my head held high after that because I thought, oh, okay, I'm proud of myself for one, kind of public speaking, two, memorizing something. So I did give myself praise for those things that I was challenged to do. But yeah, it was just like,
nah, it's not for me.
And for free?
Fuck no.
From then, I actually ended up where you were.
Yeah.
And that's where B and I reconnected
we
again.
Reconnected. I was in a separate little section, but I'd come and see her. We'd have lunch together sometimes and chat. It was so cool.
We got to wear like little
cute outfits.
Yeah. Heels, little headset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
That was a full-time job.
Yeah.
That was appropriate.
Yeah.
I was getting abusive messages saying late at night. And it turns out these people were like drug addicts and schizophrenic people, and like honestly. But I didn't know. There was so much. I know. Guys, come back for part 2. Wait.
That goes into the crazy work story.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, I'm trying to summarize here. I'm trying to summarize. Guys, we've just come up with a whole part 2 for this actually it's a whole different episode. Our next episode will be about more in depth about social media, also recounting the crazy things.
And that's when, you know, we want to hear from you as well, because it will make it a whole little segment on just, you know, the craziest work stories and go more into depth, because there's just not enough time. And now we're talking, I'm like, there's so much that we can say, but I guess the moral of the story and what we're sort of touching into, and you know, when we say there's not enough time, there's so much time in further episodes to keep bringing up this stuff, because I think there's lessons in every part of this. And what we're trying to link back to is the reasons, and the reasons why you leave jobs or whatever is to get you to that next point. And we have both been through that. So if you're feeling like, you know, you're not in a place where you want to be, it's not the end of the world. It's just a stepping stone to get you to that next place. And every person you meet, everything you're experiencing, it's all for a reason. And I think if you can really take the lesson in every part and be like, okay, this isn't what I want to be doing. What do you want to be doing?
Yeah, trust the process.
Yeah.
There's always a reason, like B said, there's always a reason why you're going through what you're going through, because maybe you have to learn that.
Yeah.
And it will do you wonders to
100%.
really reflect and think, okay, you know, and you might not even know when these skills that you've learnt are going to come into play, but when you do realize, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't have been able to back myself like I just did, which then propels you into another position. Or it's just all worth it, especially when you're young and you're learning and you have the freedom to kind of dabble in whatever you want to do. So we hope our little recount of our experiences and our journey to get to where we are now has made you guys feel a little bit more comfortable with being uncomfortable, and maybe inspired too. And sometimes the value of money isn't worth you being uncomfortable or sad or suppressed.
We're excited to keep elaborating on it, and there's just, as we're talking, like there's just so many topics and so many things that link into another thing. And should we plug? How do we exit? Plug the stuff.
You can do it. You know what they say. They say like, subscribe, and comment.
Yeah. If you are enjoying, you know, our episodes so far, if you can make sure you're following us on Instagram, Spotify. Make sure, guys.
If you can just make sure. Yeah. Apparently, no, actually, like, let's be for real. We were told that apparently it helps. And if we want to be legitness, we've got to say it.
We need to like,
it does help.
Like, subscribe, bloody rate, whatever it is. We would be greatly appreciated. And we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you very
Bye.
much.